Hello and welcome to the final chapter of this tutorial series. We are almost done. In this chapter I want to show you a couple of fights and demonstrate how everything we have learned so far applies in practice. I selected just 3 engagements and I tried to cover all levels of solo PvP in faction warfare. So we will start with very basic Tick 1 frigate against Tick 1 frigate, and I even used an alpha character with just Tick 1 modules as an Ironman challenge. This fight is pretty simple in terms of macro management, but it still demonstrates a few very important points. The second fight will be Hookbill against Hookbill. This one is a very common matchup, and in general I selected this one as like a baseline for intermediate solo PvP. Both characters will be with Omega status and with Tech 2 fits. This matchup will be a bit more complex with a couple of decision points, and I think it's quite instructive as well. And the third one is Kaitin Ishkor against Kaitin Kikimara, 2 advanced ships, and it shows more complex micro and macro management. I selected this one as a demonstration of how far you can push the 1v1 frigate PvP, or frigate and destroyer PvP, and I hope you will find it useful as well. In every video I will explain the decisions made and mistakes that were made. I win some of these fights and I lose some of these fights, and I will show you the micromanagement tricks and explain all the mistakes. So let's start with the first matchup. So I'm currently inside the Plex in position. I'm sitting at 0, which Neut and Tristan should do, because your optimal on Neuts is only up to 5 kilometers if you use Tech 2, which is pretty short. They are vulnerable to Scrum Kiting. And Merlin warps into me. So the correct course of action for the Merlin, obviously he does not know my fit yet. But the fact that Tristan, for some reason, sits at 0 against one of the strongest Tech 1 brawlers in the game should immediately raise some red flags for Merlin pilot. It's not really typical for Tristan. Even when Tristan has blasters, for example, Afterburner Scrum Web to blasters, you're not gonna sit at 0 against Merlin, because most of your DPS is still from drones, and drones are range independent. So you kind of want to Scrum Kite a Merlin even when you have blasters. So generally the only reasonable assumption that you make when you see this situation as a Merlin pilot is that Tristan must be either a bad pilot or it's Neut and Tristan. And you shouldn't really rely on your opponents being bad. So the next step that you do is that you look at the opponent's ship. One advantage of ship out of position is that you have invulnerability for about 5 seconds on landing, while I do not have invul. So it means that Merlin pilot can actually look at my ship while he is invulnerable and check if I have guns on my model. And in the Neut and Tristan, of course, you do not have guns. And in this case, you can confirm that it's actually a Neut and Tristan. And everything, all of this happens before the fight even starts. So you can do all of this in these like 5 seconds that you have of invulnerability. So your next action, you understand that it's a Neut Tristan, and even though you are a Blaster Merlin and it's a good position to engage at 0, actually you do not want to fight at 0 because you will just get neuted out very quickly. So you align out with a heated afterburner. And since your control is significantly better with a web, you will be able to burn outside of optimal of a Newton range. And after that, you just load null and scrum kite, and it will be just a straightforward DPS race. Of course, you will lose the Merlin pilot a lot of damage because you will have to fight outside of your optimal with long range ammo. But Tristan really does not have a lot of DPS either. So if this DPS race does not go your way, you can always leave because Merlin will have range control advantage. So this is how you fight. It's not the typical approach to this fight, and it requires actually quite a lot of understanding and skill. So the vast majority of your opponents will not actually do that. So when you fight against these cap-dependent brawlers, it's almost always a free win, even though in reality, if we play it correctly, it's not a free win. And you will see the mistakes that my opponent makes here. So first of all, you can see that he does not try to align out and pull range. It means he does not realize that I'm actually a Neut Tristan. He just stays at 0 and he tries to brawl me down, but it's not gonna work. Merlin has only 15 seconds of cap, and it's just not enough to kill me before I Neut him out. So this is the first cycle, and here is the second chance that you have as a Merlin pilot to correct your mistake. When you see that only Scrum and Neuts landed on you at like this point right here, you will see on your overview, like you can see that I'm webbed. But Tristan only has Neut and Scrum, and it's an indication that this is a Neut Tristan, the second indication, which is more obvious. And as soon as you see it, you need to align out somewhere. Just double click anywhere with a heated afterburner. This time it will be significantly more difficult to escape. Most likely you will still get neuted out by the time you actually burn away from the Newton range. But since you only need cap for a web and an afterburner, there is a chance that you will still be able to burn away. But at this stage, it's already quite difficult. And if you're wondering why I'm using Tech 1 Neuts, it's just because it's an Ironman challenge and I cannot use a market. So I have to use stuff that I either build or loot. And neutralizers are pretty rare to loot anywhere, so I just use Tech 1s. And Tech 1s are pretty bad because they have a very short range and they drain only 45 units instead of 50. But for the demonstration purposes, it's good enough. It's basically Tech 1 Neut Tristan against Tech 2 Merlin. And you can see that he still doesn't realize the feat that I'm using. He's still at 0. And here the fight is over. It's like 10 seconds into the fight. I run 2 cycles on him, and regardless of what he's going to do next, he's dead. By the way, I forgot to aggress my drones on the Merlin, which is a mistake, but in this specific case, it doesn't matter at all. So you will see on the third cycle that this is pretty much the last cycle. He still has a little bit of cap because I'm using Tech 1 Neuts. With Tech 2 Neuts, he would have been neuted out already. But it doesn't really matter. The next cycle will drain him dry. Yeah, you can see. So now I see that he is dry. This number shows the amount of energy drained. And if it's lower than the maximum amount of energy, which is 45 units for Tech 1 Neut, it means that the opponent is neuted out. So what you do next, you turn off 2 of your Neuts, and then you just stagger one of the Neuts. You can see it right here. So what I'm doing right here is that since the cycle is 5 seconds, and in these 5 seconds his natural cap region may get him enough to activate a web and an afterburner. None of these really require a ton of cap. Therefore, I kind of stagger 2 of my Neuts. So one activates when the hour is in the middle, which means that I neutralize his entire cap every 2.5 seconds, which means that he just never going to regen enough cap to establish control again. And you don't need heat here, you don't need to rep again because I'm kind of fully repped. And that's pretty much it. So you just chill. He is permanently neutered out. You will see in the log that he is like has 3 units of cap, 5 units of cap, then probably again 3 units of cap, yeah. So the stagger is not ideal. With ideal staggering, you get like 4 and 4, but it doesn't matter here. He just does not get enough cap to do anything for the rest of the fight. And yeah, you can just go take a drink, do something else. The Merlin is completely neutralized. He can't shoot. He can probably squeeze enough cap to activate a web or like a 1 cycle of afterburner, but it's not going to be enough. The minor comments about heat. Generally, you want to heat your cap boosters because it will just give you faster reloads and faster cap injection. So even though I don't really have to do it, it's kind of muscle memory. You will see that I constantly reactivate heat on my cap booster. You're just not gonna burn it anyways, so it makes sense to just keep it heated. And of course, small and serial rep must be heated as well all the time. Heating anything else is not really required here because it will give you enough control anyways. Yep, and it's pretty much it. Yeah, you can see that he actually gets 1 cycle of web on me here, but it doesn't matter. It's not enough to reestablish control. So he is dead, and I will show you a feat. It's pretty basic Tech 2 Merlin. I think it was nothing special. Alright, thank you for watching, and we will go to more challenging fights, more technical fights in the next videos.